morning, kids. How are you?
At the bus loop, I bring my dry erase board and we sing letters. Letters have names.
A. A is the name of this letter. A for Anthony. A for Angel. You have a little A in your name.
As a developmental psychologist who does research and evaluation in early education, I know what I want to see in a classroom.
Ship, chip. Did you hear that? They rhyme.
And we did see that in Reading Corps classrooms.
We had 1,300 pre-K students participate in the study across 26 Minnesota Reading Corps pre-K sites and also 26 comparison sites that did not have a Minnesota Reading Corps program. And we measured 5 areas of language and early literacy skills.
How many syllables does it have? 3 syllables.
Every moment of my day, I'm trying to incorporate something from our early literacy schedule. So something in the big 5. Letter naming, letter sounds, vocabulary, alliteration, or rhyming.
Oh, yeah! And Zaire, what's on your shirt today? It says Mr. Cool. What letter does Mr. start with?
The purpose of the process assessment was to understand not only if the Minnesota Reading Corps program is effective, but also why. What aspects of the Minnesota Reading Corps program make it effective?
At the center of what Reading Corps does is the dynamic between the student and the tutor. First, we use data-based decision-making. That means we use data to identify students who do need Reading Corps and to make sure those students are making progress. Second, we implement daily evidence-based interventions that research shows are effective. The third component is the implementation fidelity. That is the accuracy with which the interventions are implemented, as well as the accuracy with which the assessment data are collected. The key part of all of our model is the coaching. The internal coach is the local expert. They're often the school literacy expert, and they help support the tutor who is working with the student. The master coach is an external expert who has specific background and training in the Reading Corps program. And what they do is provide support to both the internal coach and the tutor.
One of the things we talked about last month was really looking at doing affirmations for her and really being able to help her focus.
Yeah.
How do you think that's going?
Well, I think it's going really well because the coaching is really, really helpful. It's just another layer of the support system that they have in Minnesota Reading Corps. So it's like I get this one-on-one time with my internal coach.
I was definitely up on the latest research and definitely wanted to improve as much as I could for those kids. But when I became part of the Minnesota Reading Corps, it was like an aha for me. Because what I found is that every child could succeed on this Reading Corps model.
The Reading Corps program is designed to impact the entire classroom and eventually an entire school. And part of the training that is provided to both members and teachers is how to maximize time in the classroom.
Forward, slant, down. Nice R.
Where the Reading Corps doesn't exist, you find lost opportunities for instruction. So students lining up to go outside to the playground, oftentimes it's valued for the children to be quiet, but there's no instruction going on there. It's behavior management.
Ow, 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 ow.
But that's not what you see in a Reading Corps classroom.
Of this letter.
We're really intentional about using every minute of the day either for vocabulary or talking about letters, singing about letters.
These words rhyme. Can you go sit there?
Today we have a brand new book. Imagine at the beginning of the year they speak 10 different languages and you're trying to teach them and they're not understanding my words. And then as the year goes on, the more vocabulary I share with them, the more they know.
And the next one, okay, you already know your language.
One of the findings is the impact on dual language learners. These are students who have, by definition, smaller vocabularies in English, but at that age, students are little sponges and they learn quickly.
We're gonna slant down to the right.
It's a critical period in which we can really have large impacts on students relatively quickly.
A,
The outcomes evaluation found that the Minnesota Reading Corps program was just as effective in preschools that had high levels of free and reduced price lunch students as it did with other schools that did not.
We closed the gap on children that are dual language learners, children that have multiple risk factors. We closed the gap. Those kids are going into kindergarten, school ready, ready to be a reader by grade 3.
Well, this is key for Head Start. That's our job, to work with the highest risk kids to make sure that they can be ready and close that gap. And we were able to see that classrooms that had Reading Corps were making better progress in literacy for children in those classrooms.
The name of
So it's huge.
We found that pre-K students in a Minnesota Reading Corps classroom had greater gains in language and early literacy skills than students who were not in a Minnesota Reading Corps classroom.
We measured the impact of the program with an effect size. The U.S. Department of Education would consider a meaningful impact at a level of 0.2. We found that for the 4 and 5-year-old students that there were moderate to large impacts of the program on all 5 of the Big 5 early literacy predictors. The effect size that we obtained in this study were between 0.4 and 0.72. So these are large effects that the Reading Corps program has demonstrated.
We know that children who receive opportunities in those Big 5 areas, that they are more likely to be a successful reader by grade 3.
Thomas has done an amazing job. He's grown so much since we've been here. Before, he couldn't even say his full ABCs. He is now saying his ABCs. He can do them forwards and backwards for me most of the days.
In this story, we will see all the things that people do in winter.
When she started here, she started to recognize the sounds and make sounds of the letters and recognize them in the beginnings of words. It just makes me feel proud. I feel like I have the brightest kid in the world.
All right, give me 5, dude. For him to have the right tools at school right from the beginning instead of getting them later in life, it helps him out a lot. Did you read anything?
I did read.
This is great. I just wish they had this in every school.
It's really important to take what we now have learned and make sure that more children can experience this closing of the gap. Reading Corps is mixing the human capital with evidence-based practices. And I think that's impacting systems change, classroom teachers, and children.
I would never say that anything is a silver bullet or the only way to get what you need. But of all of the programs out there, of all of the programs claiming to advance children's literacy, this one has the evidence.